That was an incredible view too. Normally you see them obscured in the grass, but we got this one to perch right up out in the open. That was so cool. South Texas is one of the premier birding destinations in the country. Thanks in large part to its proximity to Mexico, birds that can't be found anywhere else in the United States show up here on an annual basis. Some of the best spots in the region to search for them are the locations that are literally right on the border. One such hotspot is Salineño Wildlife Refuge. Hey everybody, Derek and Ryan here from Badgerland Birding. Today we're at Salineño, a pretty legendary Texas birding location. And there's a lot of this cane behind us, which is great for Morelet seedeater, one of the signature species you can get here. This is kind of the boat launch area, and there's tons of people here because a rare crane hawk was spotted a couple days ago. Don't think it's been seen today yet, though.
Yeah, obviously this is a great location based on where we are in relation to Mexico. So if you look behind us right now, Mexico is right on the other side, and that means a lot of those Mexican specialty species can be seen here, such as the Morelet seedeater, such as red-billed pigeon. So you never know what's going to show up here, but we're just going to walk around, visit the visitor center, and see what we can find here, and hopefully get some good birds.
Two of the specialty species to find here are the red-billed pigeon and the Morelet seedeater, with both being commonly found in Mexico, but not in the United States. Our primary target on this day was the seedeater. So all of this cane right here, this is great for the Morelet seedeaters. Basically, we're going to be stopping and watching and listening at any little cane patch we can find. Hopefully a little seedeater will pop up. We followed a trail right along the Rio, periodically stopping and listening for these tough-to-find birds. This proved to be somewhat difficult, simply due to the condition of the trail. So you do have to be careful in here because this path does get a little dicey. Like there's areas where the path is just kind of falling out, you got to walk over. So there's definitely some uneven terrain, there's things you got to watch out for, so be careful if you do end up taking this trail that goes by the river. While watching some birds near a tree line, we noticed one that looked a bit different, perched up on a plant.
Dude, we just got a seedeater.
Surprise seedeater.
It was, it must have come from the cane grass, and it flew up this way. And then I saw it in this bush, and I assumed it was a warbler or something, but it was making that kind of similar chirp note. And it flew to a little tree over there and then into view. And we got a seedeater.
Adult male Morelet seedeaters are quite dapper looking, with a black head, black back and wings, a white collar, light underside, and white wing bars. Females look quite different, sporting a cinnamon color with slightly darker wings and head, and noticeable wing bars. Both males and females have the same distinctive, stubby-looking bill. These birds are aptly named, as much of their diet consists of seeds, but they also eat insects and sometimes berries. Morelet seedeaters are native to Central America and eastern Mexico. In the United States, the only place to find them reliably is in Texas, most of the time right along the banks of the Rio Grande. That was an incredible view too. Normally you see them obscured in the grass, but we got this one to perch right up out in the open. That was so cool. We were watching the couch's kingbirds, and then the seedeater just comes out of nowhere. After finding the seedeater, we walked through a small grove of trees, which proved to be a hot spot a day earlier. We've just been walking one of the paths that goes right by the river. So we're checking the cane for seedeater. We got that nice one that perched up on the stick. And we're by an area of cypresses, so sometimes cool things come and hang out on the cypress trees. Yesterday we were actually here, we had a summer tanager in there, which is a really cool bird to see. So I think we're gonna go check out kind of this upper area, which is some drier field. Gotta be careful the time of year, because if you walk in that grass and there's a lot of chiggers around, you can get your legs super bit up. So this time of the year, I think we're pretty safe from that, but you gotta keep an eye on the time of year you're here, and if you get that, because you don't wanna be hanging out in Texas with a ton of bug bites. But we're gonna do that, then check out the visitor center, and then I think call it a day. We moved up to an area a little further away from the river, where the types of birds changed.
This is the more dry, grassy part of Salineño, and it's just up a little ways from the river, but you can see the landscape is totally different. We have cacti up here, and there's a lot of birds that are going to be perching up in these snags. So you could have raptors up here. We've had a couple different kingbirds. Most notably today, the Couch's kingbird was sitting up and actually making some noise so we could identify it. But yeah, very different atmosphere up here than down by the Rio.
Throughout our adventures around Salineño, we kept our eyes on the river as new birds cycled through on a regular basis.
So one of the great things about Salineño is it is right on the Rio, so you can watch stuff as it kind of moves down. Things like red-billed pigeon, Muscovy duck will all use this as a flyway to go through as they make their way between Texas and Mexico. So it's an awesome place to just kind of sit, watch, see what flies over. There's been tons of ospreys, waterfowl hanging out in there. So you can definitely just grab a chair, sit down, and look at some birds.
Out of all the birds in this area, one felt more numerous than the others, the osprey, and eventually we got good looks of one perched.
So right behind me there's an osprey eating a big fish, and they're one of the more common birds we've seen flying across the river, at least for this time of year. Very majestic, nice to hear them calling and seeing them successfully hunt.
Having seen a nice variety of birds, we headed back toward the parking lot to check out another part of the preserve.
I think we did really well here. The Seedeater was the main thing we wanted to see, so we got that. We got some bonus birds. Seeing the couches perch up really nice was cool, all the ospreys. So I think overall we did great. We're gonna head to the visitor center where there's apparently some feeders and some screech owl boxes. See what we can find there.
Before going to the visitor center, we made a stop at the boat launch, which provided a nice vantage point and allowed us to get right up to the natural border between the US and Mexico.
We're here at the boat launch at Salineño, and this is one of the first places you'll see when you come down. There's a parking lot here, and this is a great vantage point to look at stuff flying between the US and Mexico. We got a great blue heron over here, some turtles. People reported red-billed pigeons on the Mexico side, but raptors, really anything might be flying back and forth and up and down this area, so we're going to touch the Rio Grande right now. Feels special.
From the boat launch, we moved into the visitor area that had a vibe similar to a backyard or a park, complete with a feeding station that many people were sitting near and watching.
So we're hanging out by the feeder setup, really awesome place with fruit, different things for the birds to eat, and somebody kind of calling out what's being seen. So really great for beginners, really nice setup they have here.
This feeding station attracted many South Texas specialty species, including great kiskadees, Altamira orioles, and long-billed thrashers. There were also many common eastern birds, such as northern cardinals.
Just got done with the little visitor center inside of Salineño, and we saw a lot of cool classic South Texas specialty birds. So the Altamira oriole, the green jay, the kiskadee, we got a ladderback woodpecker. So there was a lot of cool stuff. If you look on here, we got check, check, check. No, check, no, no, check. So did pretty well for the short time that we were there. Good time birding at Salineño.
Salineño proved to be a great place to find classic South Texas bird species, most notably the Morelet seedeater. We will have to return to this area to see if we can find some red-billed pigeons, along with other species that make the trip across the border. But until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.